How many times have you set a goal for yourself, whether it's for your studio, like in your business, or if it's a personal goal like fitness or something like that? How many times have you set a big goal? Chris is here today, and said, "I'm going to do this thing. I need to do this thing, and I know that on the other side of this, this goal is going to take me where I need to be in my life." You've set that goal, and you've taken a couple of steps towards it. I love, we get interrupted by kitties. You've set that goal, you've taken that first step towards it, and maybe in that first step you feel like super good about it, right? You get this little rush of adrenaline, you get the dopamine hit, you're like, yeah, I'm doing the thing, this is amazing, it's so awesome. And then things change, and there's a big shift. And the way that you feel completely, that good feeling completely dissipates, and you are thrust into those feelings of worry, self-doubt, frustration. Maybe you start arguing your limits. Maybe you start arguing with other people. You may even start to feel physically ill. Maybe you've got aches and pains, a migraine or something, because that goal seems so unachievable. We are here to talk today about something called upper limiting. And I've been doing a lot of reading about this subject lately, and I think it's really important. What happens with upper limits is that the upper limit sets in and it tells us that we can't do something. It tells us that we have a limited amount of goodness, of success, of happiness, of money in our lives. And that upper limit sets in, it can make you back away from that goal. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to talk about the upper limit, what it is, what it looks like, and how we can start to recognize it so that we won't be limiting ourselves. We won't be limiting our goals so that we can achieve what we want to achieve in our studios and in our lives. So I'm so glad that you are here today with me. If you are joining live on the broadcast, please be sure to say hello. You can say hello to Grizz as well. Come back over. Now she's going to be shy. My little behind the scenes helper has joined us today for the video. If you are here live, please be sure to tell me where you're tuning in from and let me know, have you felt that upper limiting problem before? If you're watching this video later on, don't be afraid to jump into the comments and join us in this conversation. I like to keep this convo going, and I will be back to answer questions and to chat with you. So welcome to the broadcast, everybody. My name is Sarah Campbell. If you've never been here before, I am a business and mindset coach for music studio owners and for online education experts just like you. And every Wednesday I go live here on the business page where we talk through business tips, where we talk about how mindset can help us become better business owners, and to share pictures of my cat. This is Grizabella. She doesn't want to look at the camera. So everybody say hi to Grizz. She's like, no, Mom, this was not part of our deal. All right, so I'm here every Wednesday to talk about these things. And one of my favorite things to talk about is awesometicity. And that means showing up as your awesome self because there's nobody like you. Being able to embrace what makes you awesome as a teacher. Being able to bring that into your business in a way that feels authentic to you. So we get those two things that come together and we get awesometicity. So we talk about that as well. So welcome to the show, everybody. I'm so glad that you are here. I hope my cat is not too distracting. I see a lot of people tuning in. I'll say hello to Carol and Deborah and Karen. Nicole is here. Hello, Donna. Hey there, Meredith. Nice to see you. And all right, so let's get to the goods, shall we, guys? Before we get started and before I tell you about upper limiting, I want to let you know that the Coach Sarah bot does have things set up for you. Grizz was like, I tested the bot. It works just fine. So if you want to get a hold of today's information, I do have some resources set up for you that are about upper limiting, and I have a way that you can opt into the email list as well. If you give me a limit below, the Coach Sarah bot will message you here on Facebook Messenger, and she'll send you the info, the show notes from today, and all the resources that I'm going to be talking about. So just pop that down below, and you'll get that in Messenger. We love to learn out loud. So what we do here in the broadcasts is if you hear something that is valuable to you, something that you want to be able to bring into your life, Maybe you are setting an intention. Maybe you've got this like aha moment where you're like, oh, wow, okay, now things make sense. You're going to share that with a hashtag takeaway and give us the tip that you found valuable. This makes it really great for teachers who are coming back later on in the video and maybe they don't quite know what this is about, so that they can learn from you and they can learn from me and we can just learn together, learning out loud. All right, guys, so let's get to it, shall we? Get into the upper limit problem. All right, let's talk about upper limits. This term, I'm going to kind of give you a little background as to how I found myself curious about this term. A couple of years ago, I was in a mastermind with some amazing people from the Speakeasy Cooperative. That is a group for voice teachers. If you're ever interested in that, you can always message me about it. But we were in a mastermind together, and I was creating some new ideas for my business, and I was feeling very, very stuck in the direction that I wanted to go. And someone in the group posed the question, said, Sarah, do you think that this is a form of upper limiting? And I was like, upper limiting? What the what? What the heck does that mean? I don't even understand. I don't understand what this means. And they explained to me that upper limiting is a way that we limit ourselves. It is a form of self-sabotage. And it happens quite frequently, but it's very sneaky. Upper limiting doesn't put up a big flashing sign that says, you have reached the top of your success level and you can't go any further. Upper limiting shows up as negative self-talk. It can also manifest in other ways where we argue with people, or it can manifest as guilt. It can manifest physically. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the ways that upper limiting shows up, and we're going to talk about how we can learn to recognize those patterns in our lives so that we can move past them. Because I can guarantee we have all had a form of upper limiting show up, especially when it comes to running our studios. So if you are making big studio policy changes, if you are like changing the way that you schedule things, if you are starting new programs, anything like that, and you get excited about it, but then you feel that pull back, right? I can't do this. I'm not good enough to do this. Who am I to do this? We're going to talk about that. Hey there, April's tuning in from New Jersey. Donna is tuning in from Long Island. Nice to see you guys here. So glad that you could join the broadcast. Oh, I should mention, hey, if you guys have any teacher friends who you think would benefit from this, or if you just have a business owner friend who you think, you know what, I think this person is putting a limit on their success and they're talking themselves out of being able to achieve what they want to achieve, I want you to let them know about this video. You can bring them into the comments here, or if you want to share this with them, that would be really amazing. I would super appreciate that. So if you're finding this valuable and you know somebody else who would find this valuable, please be sure to let them know about it right now. That would be great. Howdy from Baltimore. Hey there, Christine. Deborah says, I react by shutting down, can't accomplish anything. Deborah, I 100% hear you. I react in the same way often. When I feel that, when I hit that upper limit, I can get really depressed. I will just stop doing the things that I was doing, and I will, find other projects that are less impactful, and I'll try to busy myself with those. So let's get to it, shall we? Here we go. So we're going to start by, do you see my cat in the background? It makes me super nervous when she's doing this. Oh my God, please get down. Ah! Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everybody fingers crossed. She's fine. Okay, let's get to it. What the heck is upper limiting? So I'm going to be talking about a couple of resources that I'm reading about upper limiting. I know, Grizz the Daredevil. Guys, excuse me for just 1 second. I love you, and I think you're amazing, but you're also almost 19 years old and shouldn't be tightrope walking. All right. Grizz the Daredevil. Ah, she's so bad. Okay, now we're safe, and I can focus. Here we go. So what the heck is upper limiting? So I'm going to read some quotes about upper limiting to you because I thought this super defines what upper... Now she's angry at me. Do you hear her? All right. This is going to be a great broadcast, guys. All right. So the book that I am sharing today is called The Big Leap, and this is by Gay Hendricks, and it's been my favorite summer read, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to read a little paragraph about what upper limiting is. So here we go. Here's how the upper limit problem holds us back. Each of us has this internal thermostat setting that determines how much love, success, and creativity we allow ourselves to enjoy. When we exceed that thermostat setting, we will often do something to sabotage ourselves, causing us to drop back into old familiar zones where we feel secure. Now, here's the tricky part. This thermostat setting is often set, it usually gets programmed in early childhood. So the upper limiting problem, yay, Dorla says, I love that book. Yeah, it's a really, really great book. So that upper limiting problem, those patterns start to establish themselves when we're young. So it can be hard to recognize them because you've lived with them forever. And so here, in a nutshell, here's what upper limiting is, in my understanding of it, because I'm still learning, but I'm learning out loud, right? Upper limiting tells us that we can only have so much love, so much success, so much contentment. And then once we reach that threshold, right, then there's this little thing inside that goes, ooh, you are feeling really, really good right now. Something bad is about to happen. It'll tell you that something bad is about to happen, or it will tell you you don't deserve to feel this way. Now, it's not going to say it in those words. It's going to manifest in different ways. So we're going to go through the different ways that upper limit, some of the different ways, because there are many, many, many ways that it can show up. But basically, that's what it's all about. It means that when we achieve success, happiness, or wealth, our ego tends to bring us back down, right? It brings us back down into our comfort zone. It gives us negative thoughts or behaviors that we've probably accumulated through our life, and then we just find ourselves back at square one. So here's a really good example of this, and I think we can all understand this particular example. Upper limiting, okay, think about people who win the lottery, right? They win like $3 billion or something ridiculous. I don't even know if that's even a thing, but they win a ton of money in the lottery. And how many times have you watched stories on the news of somebody who won the lottery and that within 2 years, not only is all that money gone, but they have lost friends and family members because of arguments. They've gotten in trouble with the law. And at the end of that, they find themselves almost worse off than they were before they won the lottery. So upper limiting is super sneaky. We often don't recognize that it's happening. Let's go through some of the ways that it shows up in our lives. Because, man, I am figuring out how I upper limit myself. I feel it hardcore. Right now I'm going through, I've mentioned this in several previous broadcasts, I'm going through a rebrand. You guys are going to start seeing things here in the upcoming months. I'm very excited to roll out the changes for you. But I'm going through a rebrand, and I've been hitting that upper limit hard. I'm feeling it, right? When I make a decision, I get super excited about it for like a day. And then in the days to come, I am spiraling down into this like negative, like self-doubt, like who the heck are you to do this? And I'm figuring out how to recognize those patterns. Carol says, that sounds like a good book for me. Yeah, this is, for those who just tuned in, it's called The Big Leap, and it's by Gay Hendricks. We'll be talking about this a little bit more later on. So, Julia says, Brene Brown calls this foreboding joy and rehearsing tragedy. You know that I love some Brene Brown. And yes, exactly. So it's rehearsing, like you're basically creating this scenario. And when we focus all our attention on this scenario, guess what happens? The scenario. All right. So here we get into how does upper limiting show up? All right. So upper limiting can show up in many different ways. Here are a few of the ways that upper limiting can show up in your life. 1, very, very simple, worry, right? So worry and doubt can set in when you've set this goal for yourself and you're like, I am going to do this, and I'm bringing something up on my screen so I can make sure that I'm hitting all the same things. So if I look distracted, I promise I'm right here with you. So we can have this like worry and doubt that sets in, and it can be very frustrating because those little items, they aren't true. Right? When we really start examining what is true and what is not, those little worry and self-doubt things that set in can feel really real at the time, but what's happening is they're not really real. They're just they're telling you that you can't do it because we've reached that upper limit and we've reached how much success our internal thermostat says that we're allowed to have. So it can show up as worry, right? It can show up as guilt. I can't do this because I feel guilty for whatever reason. Let's make a very clear example here, right? Maybe that reason is if you're doing like a total overhaul of the way that you do scheduling inside of your studio, you know that this overhaul is going to be really important for your clients because it's going to help you show up better for them. It could also be that it's going to benefit your family because it's going to give you like an actual dinner time. It's going to let you be done earlier in the day. It can benefit you personally, right? It might mean getting rid of a Saturday. So that's like a huge change, right? If me just talking through that has given you butterflies, there's the upper limit, right? It's telling you that you are only allowed to have so much joy and so much success in your life, and that we have to stick to old patterns. So what happens when those things set in? Well, we're going to get to that in a second. So let's talk about a few other ways that upper limiting can set in. So worry, doubt, guilt, right? All of these things can be signs of upper limiting. It can also show up as arguments. It can change the way that you interact with people. So when you're picking a fight with a spouse, and it might not have anything to do with the goal that you have in mind, picking a fight with a spouse, picking a fight with a friend, a family member, that can be a sign of upper limiting because you are more engaged in, okay, I need to feel bad. I've reached that level of success and joy and love and abundance in my life, and I've got to bring myself back down. So you don't even realize you're doing it, but we start to pick arguments with people. We start to play the blame game with people. And exactly, not liking change. And look, Catherine, look at your little profile picture. Aw, that kitty, she's sweet. It can show up in ways that we interact with people. And here's the sneakiest way that it can show up. But before we get to that, I just want to know, guys, is this resonating with you? Have you ever felt, if you've tiptoed up to the edge with this big goal that you're going to do, and then you felt like all of these things set in, worry, doubt, guilt, picking arguments with people. Arguments have nothing to do with the big decision that you're trying to make, except that it's that inner thermostat going, we got to dial that joy down. So if that sounds familiar to you, let me know. All right, here is another way that it shows up that's super sneaky. And this is something that I really had a hard time wrapping my brain around. Yes, Karen says, I rehearse tragedy. Yeah, right? We rehearse those tragic things in our brain. If we're trying to make a change in the studio, what we'll do is we'll rehearse like how people are going to be angry with you, instead of focusing on the fact that this change is going to bring great benefits to your clients, right? That upper limit problem is going to say, nope, let's think about all the bad things that can happen. Carol's like, all of the above. Look at all these gorgeous kitty profile pictures. You are my people. Okay, so here's the other sneaky way that it can show up. Upper limiting can actually manifest physically. And I know that sounds weird. And I still struggle with this concept because I think, sickness is sickness and sometimes you just get sick. But it manifests in all kinds of different ways physically. It can be, trouble sleeping. It can be feeling sore. It can be migraines. Have you ever or it can be like losing your voice all of a sudden? In this book and and then there's another article that I'm going to share with you guys. If you want to get a hold of those things, just a quick reminder, you can drop a limit below, and the coach Sarah Bot will send you the information about the resources and also a show, like a recap of the show. But in this book, Hendricks shares these stories about people who lost their voice right before this giant presentation that they had to make in front of the board, right? And what was interesting is that he was sitting down with this client of his and he was talking through like, well, what's going on? What are the fears involved with this? And as that person was talking through the fears and talking through like why he needed to do this thing, guess what? His voice came back. super weird. Now, this is not always the case, but it can actually manifest physically. It can really like get a tight hold of us to keep us back down into that comfort zone, right? That area of this is the threshold of joy that I'm allowed in my life. Okay, so that's how it shows up, right? We understand what the upper limit is. We can kind of start to recognize how it's showing up in your life. Now, what can we do about it? Okay, so this is an ongoing process, because remember back at the beginning, I mentioned that upper limit, that inner thermostat, is often set during early childhood. So this is a continuous journey, right? It's all about learning to recognize the symptoms and to question, where are these coming from? Where is this feeling coming from? And to ask yourself some questions. So we start with, where is this coming from? Is it actually about the thing, this thing that you're trying to do? Or are you finding other problems in areas of your life and kind of like trying to focus on those so that you can limit your joy? We ask, where is it coming from? Right? Then we ask, is it true? There's a great book, I believe that it's called The Four Truths. I think that's the title of it. And it walks us through these, when we rehearse tragedy in our brain, because we do this a lot. This is just how a lot of our brains work. When we rehearse tragedy or we pick arguments, we examine what is true about the statements that we are saying in our own head. Because oftentimes what we're saying in our head is a story that we've built up. But that story that you have is different from the story that other people have. So if it's an argument, there are two sides to the story. So we learn to set aside, we kind of step back a little bit and we go, okay, is this feeling, like, where is this coming from? Is it actually about this like goal that I have in mind, or is it about something else and I'm nitpicking? Then we start to ask ourselves, is it true? And really sit down, write it out. Is this fear that I'm holding so close to myself right now? Is this actually true? Is it something that's going to manifest? Do I know this to be fact? And most often we don't, right? Yes, Catherine says, is it ironic that we see others who don't appear to have it and wish that we could be like them and not have it? Here's the thing, we can't see that inner narrative, right? Or we only see what they're presenting. So I've been told from people sometimes, well, Sarah, everything looks like it's just so amazing and awesome, and that you're doing these videos and you're doing these posts, but what you don't see is the behind the scenes stuff, right? The self-doubt that sets in, the text messages I'm sending and Facebook messages that I'm sending to my coaches going, oh my gosh, please talk me off of this ledge. I am about to pull the plug on this project because I cannot even comprehend what this is going to look like, right? We don't see those things in other people. So what I can guarantee is, with almost 100% certainty, that other person who looks like they have it together, they're experiencing the same self-doubt that you are. Not that that makes you feel better, but at least kind of makes you feel better. Okay, so quick recap here. What the heck is upper limiting? Upper limiting tells us that we can only have so much joy, success, and abundance in our lives. It is created by this inner thermostat that is often set during early childhood that tells you can only feel good up to this point. And once that you have more good feelings after that, it's going to bring you back down into that comfort zone, into that familiar area, and it's going to do it in different ways. It's going to show up as worry and doubt. It can be guilt. It can be arguments that you're picking with people. Ooh, good one, Donna. Catastrophizing, right? Yeah, it's what we mentioned earlier. It's I'm trying to find it, rehearsing tragedy, and all of those things, right? So it can be all of those things. It can show up in so many different ways. It might even manifest physically. Could be that migraine that you get the morning that that you're supposed to be doing a big presentation. It could be, I used to get sick, not used to, I will say, consistently, if I am performing in a show, I will either get sick right the week before the show, or I will get sick after the show. Isn't that interesting? Now we know, being in a theater, there's a lot of germs being passed around, but it's Kind of interesting, isn't it? Elizabeth says, so much of this resonates. I'm so glad. I'm glad that this I'm glad that this resonates, but it's good to be able to like pop the hood and look underneath, right? To see like what is actually happening here. So it shows up in different ways. What can we do about it? Well, it's about learning to recognize the patterns, right? Do you notice that when you've got a big goal in mind, whether it's like, let's say for instance, it's like getting an exercise goal and you've chugged along for a while and then all of a sudden like everything drops off, right? You realize, and your upper limit has set in and it's like, well, you can't feel good that much longer. And so old habits start to creep in. It can be, things, doing changes in your studio, whether it's a scheduling change or a policy change or like launching a new program. The upper limit loves to show up for those. So guys, here's the takeaway from today, right? Hashtag takeaway. Everybody faces this. You're not alone. And here's the deal. We can train ourselves. I know that I said that inner thermostat was set during childhood, but we can start to train ourselves to recognize when that upper limit sets in. Because there is no level. There is not a thermostat that actually says you can only have so much love. You can only have so much success. You can only have so much abundance in your life. When we look at those things, it's not like there's a cap on them unless we put it there. And we don't mean to, but that's what the upper limit is, right? That's the takeaway. So guys, if you want more resources about upper limiting, there's all kinds of good ones. I've got 2 resources that I'm going to share with you today. If you want to get a hold of them, you're going to drop a limit below. One of the resources is a short blog post. It is from HuffPost. It's Arabelle Yee, and it's a short read. I really, really enjoy it. She's giving examples of, what an upper limit looks like and, how she talks clients through them. I think you'll really like that one. The other link that I will send you is a link to The Big Leap. It's available on Amazon as like all kinds of things. You can do hard copy if that's your deal, or it's on Kindle, and I think it's on Audible too. So if you want to get a hold of those resources, and I will say, this is not like a massive book, right? You can see I'm almost done. I have like one more chapter to go. It's not a massive book. It's a pretty quick read. It's something that you might enjoy. And I will also send you the show notes from today. So it's a quick recap of what we've gone through during the broadcast. And if you would like to have more information about this, I will be putting this up onto my blog. And I have a tendency to expand the show notes there with more thoughts and ideas for you. If you put limit below, then the Coach Sarah bot will send you a way to get a hold of that. So there we go. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really glad and grateful that you were here in the space while we talk about upper limiting. I hope that you found this valuable. If you did, if you found this valuable today, if you want to show some appreciation, it would be amazing. You can give me some little likes and hearts. That would be awesome. Give this video a heart. And if you have a friend that you could share this with, that would be amazing. So I really appreciate you all being here. I'm very grateful that you shared the space with me. My name is Sarah Campbell. I'm a business and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education owners just like you. You can find me here live on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about business and mindset and awesometicity. And I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, stay creative and stay you, because there's only one person like you, and you're pretty dang awesome. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.